You know what? This episode would have probably been so much better if they burst out into song. T-E-E-T-I-T-A-N-S. We the real heroes taking down the real menace. Teen Titan knows, Teen Titan flows. Where there's real trouble, baby, Teen Titan go. Go, Teen Titans go. Go, Teen Titans go. Go, Teen Titans go. Go, 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 go. Oh, I'm so lame, but I love that song. So Titans Season 2, Episode 1 just recently dropped on the DC Universe streaming app. And this episode takes place literally moments after the Season 1 finale, where Trigon has finally returned to Earthrealm to start a Mortal Kombat! He comes back to Earthrealm, and in order to get Rachel on his side, he sets out to get all the Titans on his side by releasing their inner darkness. And now it's up to Rachel and Guard to basically get them to see the light and to finally put a stop to her father and send him back to the hell dimension that he came from. And yeah, for this episode, I wasn't overwhelmed, I wasn't underwhelmed, I was just whelmed. And I'm not going to go fully in depth with this episode, but for the most part, I will talk spoilers. So if you haven't seen Season 2, Episode 1 of Titans, you should probably bow out now unless you really don't care about spoilers. So here you go. You've been warned. But before I get specifically into the episode, I gotta say, for Season 1, honestly, I thought Season 1 overall was just okay. Like, initially, I thought I liked it more than I did, but going back and really thinking about it, honestly, the episodes that I enjoyed the most were the ones that had nothing to do with the Titans themselves. Like, for example, my two favorite episodes of Season 1 were the Hawk and Dove episode and the Doom Patrol episode. And also for a show called Titans, there wasn't really that much Titans action. For the most part, it was just Dick and Rachel. And so when Season 1 ended with that incredibly weak season finale, I kind of forgot about Titans coming back in the months that have passed since Season 1. And honestly, I didn't even know Season 2 was coming back. Granted, I knew they were getting a Season 2, but I didn't know when Season 2 was coming back. And I honestly didn't really care that much to find out. I was just like, I'm pretty sure when Season 2 drops, I'll find out. So here we are. So yeah, so now getting into the actual episode, like, I don't understand the logistics with the DC streaming service of making this the first episode of Season 2. I believe I read somewhere that this episode was supposed to be the actual season finale of Season 1, and it would have made so much more sense, because after having had so many months away from the Season 1 finale, and then you get into this episode that takes place literally right after Season 1 ends, now you're being forced to try to remember exactly what happened in Season 1 and where it left off, and all the pieces that have been put into place to Season 1 to get back into this episode, because had you not seen the season finale, this episode would make absolutely no sense, and this episode is more or less forcing you to get right back into that mindset. It doesn't make sense. And then, not only does that not make sense, the fact that all of Season 1 has been building to how powerful and how deadly and how much of a force Trigon is, for them to get to this episode, and he was basically defeated in like the first half hour of the episode. And I'm just like, what? And honestly, part of me was a little glad that he was defeated so easily, mostly because once he actually became the form of Trigon that you kind of know from the comics, the CGI, which is a problem for this show overall, but he looked fucking terrible. Did you guys see the way Trigon looked in this episode? And not even just in the way he looked, but in his stifled movements. Like, it looked PlayStation 1 quality. CW's The Flash does a way better job on their CGI for Gorilla Grodd. And I understand that this is a, quote, TV budget, but come on now, if you're gonna do Trigon, at least put some type of effort into your CGI. God, this looked terrible. And this has been a trend for Titan CGI overall. Like, if you think about when Donna Troy jumped over a car in Season 1, or the moment in the Hawk and Dove episode where the original Dove got hit by a car, or that terrible looking sequence when young Robin jumped out the window and swung onto a tree, like, all of that looked garbage. So if they're going to continue this show going forward, especially considering it's a show about superheroes with superpowers, they need to do something about their CGI, because my God. With that said though, I'm not going to rail on the entire episode. Like, here and there were some good moments that I actually did enjoy, like the fight scene between Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Like, I thought that fight scene was very well choreographed. I enjoyed watching every moment of that scene. Finally getting to see Beast Boy shapeshift into something else other than a tiger. What you learn from Season 1 is because he has mental blocks in his mind and that a tiger is his favorite animal, he only seems to be able to shapeshift into a tiger. You finally get the moment where he shapeshifts into something else, which was a snake. But the only thing that I didn't like is they didn't really make that moment into as big a deal as I think it should have been. It was basically glossed over. Also, another moment that I enjoyed is when Rachel gets Dick to come out That doesn't sound right. When Rachel goes into Dick's mind, that kind of doesn't sound right either. Basically, when Rachel gets Grayson to come out of his darkness by reaching into his mind and forcing him to save her life in a scenario where he couldn't save his parents' life at the Flying Grayson's tragic circus performance. I enjoyed that moment. And then speaking of which, of things being weird and all, granted it wasn't fully a thing in this episode, but there were still some undertones and it was peppered throughout season 1. I'm not really comfortable with the fact that Ryan Potter is the actor that plays Beast Boy. Ryan Potter is now 24 years old. Tegan Croft is the actor that plays Rachel / Raven, and she is now 15 years old. But when she was cast, she was 13 years old. In this show, they keep pushing the idea that Beast Boy and Raven are slowly developing into a full-blown romantic relationship. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I like that or what. It just makes me feel weird because, again, Ryan Potter is a grown man. He's 24 years old. But Tegan Croft is basically a minor. And they keep alluding to the fact that they're going to develop a romance, even to the point that in one of the episodes, they had a flash forward into the future and both Gar and Rachel were in college together, because even though Ryan Potter is actually in his 20s, he's playing a person to be around Rachel's age. So they're both in college together, and then they're alluding to the fact that they're dating. And like I said, I don't know, I get kind of creeped out about this idea that they're making them play this romance together, and I'm just like, it makes me cringe. But anyway, so the next half of the episode takes a complete 180 from the first half, as if Trigon never existed in the first place, and then you finally get to meet Bruce Wayne, played by Ian Glenn. And while I loved Ian Glenn as Jorah Mormont, I'm not really feeling his Bruce Wayne. Plus, the idea that Ian Glenn is basically almost in his 60s, and yet he's still playing an active duty Batman. Like they even mentioned in the very beginning of this episode that Batman was currently out with the Justice League in space. And a Batman in his 60s seems more to be in line with a Batman Beyond type of Batman, as opposed to an actively still fighting Batman. Especially considering we're only on Jason Todd. We know after Jason Todd comes Tim Drake. So what is he gonna be, like 65 still fighting as Batman? That doesn't really make sense to me. And plus, again, while he was interacting with Dick Grayson, he seemed like Jorah Mormont. He didn't seem like Bruce Wayne. So I'm not really a fan of the casting. So I feel like at this juncture, especially considering Dick Grayson isn't even Nightwing yet, I feel like Batman should be at least like 35, 36, 37, or maybe in his early 40s, not pushing his 60s. Granted, this show may never introduce Tim Drake, but still. Basically, this episode just feels like it was just put out so they could just hurry up and get to Deathstroke. As someone like Trigon is a major villain and somebody that should have been a much bigger threat. Like, he's their version of Galactus. I'm not a fan of how Trigon was handled in this episode, let alone how he looked. But yeah, like I said, overall, there were some good moments and the actors are pretty fine in these roles. But for this to be the season 2 premiere, I would say Titan season 2 episode 1 titled Trigon barely broke even and is bordering on being a miss for me. So, have you guys seen Titan season 2 episode 1? What did you think about it? Also, what did you think of season 1 overall? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, if you can, please hit that thumbs up button and like this video. It'll really help out the channel. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel and tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. Please. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.